The next trends that we're going to look at, so there's obviously content trends every year. Last year it was bite-sized content, and this year is no different. We'll see more and more short-form bite-sized content, and that will generate more interactions across all social media platforms. That short-form bite-sized content. And I guess why is this short-form content really prevalent? Why is it going to make more interactions than any other form of content? It's largely down to our attention spans. Microsoft did a study in 2000 and found that the average attention span was 12 seconds. They did another study last year, and it was seen to have reduced to 8 seconds. However, some experts will tell you that it's now somewhere around 4 seconds. So we can see our attention spans are decreasing, particularly online, where we're ruthless and we're scrolling, and we're going down our news feeds, or we are scrolling through our reels or our shorts or our videos, and you probably don't have a lot of seconds to capture somebody's attention. So this bite-sized information in the form of videos can really satisfy users with that narrower attention span and lead to more content consumption. And we've seen a study here by Social Insider, which has measured the organic performance of post types on Instagram, and we'll see the average engagement rate for a reel, which is that short form video on Instagram, much more interactions than a single image, carousel album, or video. So reels, those short form videos, 5 or 10 seconds, are getting more engagement rate than any other content. And just some video stats in general from WizOil, in terms of adopting a more video centric approach. We've 86% of businesses currently using video as a marketing tool. A huge proportion of those marketers surveyed value video as an important tool in their marketing strategy. In 2008, the average person was watching 1.5 hours a day of online video. That's now risen just in 4 years to 2.5 hours per day. So more and more video consumption. We've seen around between 65 and 68% of video marketers either plan to use Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn in their video marketing strategy. LinkedIn has become a really popular place for video content. It's the second most popular platform to share videos behind YouTube. So LinkedIn, and anyone here that is promoting their business on LinkedIn and using B2B marketing, really consider using video this year on LinkedIn. So I guess there's some compelling statistics there in terms of, should you invest in video and should you invest in short form video content? So what types of short form video content are there? Product teasers, here's a snapshot of our product. User generated content, as we said. There was a diner stroke restaurant in Canada which encouraged anyone that wanted to create a TikTok video of their meal. They would get their meal for free on a certain day of the week. So they were banking all this user generated content on TikTok that they could repurpose. So some clever ideas like that, could really help with these short form videos in terms of user generated content. We've seen brand challenges. We've seen lots and lots of challenges, particularly on TikTok, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, and so on. And brand challenges can be very, very entertaining and engaging. Behind the scene video, in terms of the company, the people within the company, how the company operates. We've seen lots of brands document trade shows and conferences with short video, 5-10 second clips of their journey throughout the day or the couple of days. They've been really, really engaging and important in their marketing. We also have explainer or education videos. So like this example on Instagram, how to maintain a clean burning candle. So a how-to basically, or an explainer or an educational video about how the product works, or some sort of added value in terms of how to care or maintain their product. So we've seen those explainer and educational videos work really well in short form content. And then we also have influencer ads. So if you are engaged with a macro or a nano or a micro influencer for that matter, using influencer ads, using video in influencer ads to really capture people's attention. And lastly, I just want to touch on this particular section of content, and that is the multisensory social media content. So I guess as we move closer to an Internet of Senses, and that's basically a new term for incorporating technology to create digital sensory experiences. So that Internet of Senses trend would be to have a truly multi-channel, multi-format approach. So whether it's all social media channels incorporating or other channels to really engage and stimulate consumers and customers in really different and fun and interactive ways, but also creating a more sort of accessible experience that provides different content formats that your audience is wanting and demanding over the next while. And we'll see some brands, it might not be 2023, but I did want to mention it might be further, down the line, a number of years away. But we'll see more and more businesses and brands invest in bringing those sort of multi-sensory elements together for improved sort of digital experiences, and that could be gamification. So this gamification concept is where they're integrating, social, online and gaming experiences. I spoke to a number of different companies in this sector. Some are bringing gamification into tourism and integrating it with social media. Other companies are looking at the gamification of their content websites. So if you read articles, you get a number of points, and that can be used for elements of discount or elements of online shopping and so on. So it's something to look out for. There's also these digital malls we see with H&M, and that's moving into the metaverse aspect. But those digital malls and those sort of shopping experiences are expected to be mainstream by 2030. And there's so much content online. Brands are looking for innovative ways to engage audiences and connect with consumers. And obviously the growth of the metaverse, it was mentioned in our last trend series of 2022, because there's a lot of discussion around it. It has quietened down a bit, but it's expected to ramp up next year. And that metaverse will give us opportunities to sort of accelerate that Internet of Senses journey. There's also other elements which have come to prominence in terms of multi-sensory. We've seen online audio, which is growing at really breakneck speed. We've seen YouTube and Twitter introduce podcasting pages. Facebook and LinkedIn have audio rooms. Twitter has live audio in the form of Twitter Spaces. So there's an audio element, as well as the gamification, as well as this sort of digital metaverse aspect of it, which are going to come to prominence and really become mainstream. Maybe not next year, but over the next couple of years. So it's just something to keep an eye out on. And if you're in that space, if you think it's what your audience might demand, of course, you could be an early adapter to that. So lots of different content trends over the next year or so. Certainly looking at short form videos, that snackable short form content, as well as keeping an eye on what really multi-sensory content can happen over the next 12 months.